You know who I can do without? I can do without the people in the video store.
Which ones?
All of them.
This is Massive Late Fee with Mike and Mark.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. As you can see, everyone is very excited about us being back. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Not too bad. And yourself?
Good. We've had a good week here at Massive Late Fee. I remembered to push the record button first time out, so we're good on that score. Crazy, we're still all indoors. We're still under house arrest or whatever you want to call it. Kids are still being homeschooled. How are you dealing with trying to, keep the kids from forgetting everything they've learned?
Well, it's really weird. Only today did we actually get actual plans from our schools. And there's no one of them is like through an email, the other one's like through this thing called Remind, and yet another one's through like a website. They're like, there's no cohesion to the whole thing. You think you'd like, all right, go to this website and then you can find a video here, supplements here, but it's really not like that. It seems like each teacher was told to come up with their own entirely individual plan as to how to homeschool the kids.
Yeah, it's funny. We got an email or a text message actually from the school district the other day. And all it said was, we're going, for people that can't afford devices to learn from home, we're going to be giving devices out. So click here to apply for one of these devices. But they don't say anything. There was no other information. They didn't say what the device was. It's so confusing. It sounded very dystopian to me.
Right, yeah, it's weird because there's only 2 months left anyways in the school year at this point, if that. So it's like they're gonna start shipping shit out to people. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't. I think that what I've been doing, just letting them watch educational programming, I don't know.
The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, the Breakfast Club, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead and stuff like that. I think that's.
Class of 1999.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Lean on Me.
Yeah, what's that? Dangerous Minds? Another one, yeah.
Dad, what's the HNIC? Well, you didn't watch the movie closely, so I think you're getting an F.
Yeah, if you'd paid attention to your context clues, you would know.
Did you even know that somebody was beating up Kid Ray? Nope.
Wow. Yeah. What a failure. But anyway, so
Yep.
I guess we'll move on to the IMDb game guide or whatever. What I'm
Guide game.
Yeah. The IMDb guide game. It's the parents' guide game. So, Mike.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Your first clue is under sex and nudity. There's also some kissing.
The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Oh, that's very close. All right, let's go to profanity. A use of cojones, which is a vulgar word for testicles in Spanish. Thanks for that lesson. Constant cussing throughout the film. Fuck in all forms, dozens of times. Shit repeatedly. Lesser forms of swearing. Jesus, Christ, goddamn, hell, bastard, ass. Intermittently from beginning to end. 1 use of prick. 15 uses of fuck. 47 uses of shit. And then it says in parentheses, repeatedly. I don't understand what that means. 3 uses of son of a bitch. Lesser forms of swearing intermittently from beginning to end. Again, 3 uses of bastard, 30 uses of God, 6 uses of Jesus, and 1 use of Christ. I'm not sure if that's together with Jesus. 1 use of hell, 7 uses of goddamn, 3 uses of ass, and 4 uses of asshole.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Could you repeat that? True Romance.
Oh, nope. Drugs
You didn't
and
say it N-word, so it's probably not a Quentin Tarantino joint.
True. Yeah, there's no speech about about Sicilians. Let's see, drugs and alcohol and smoking. At a gala, attendees formally drink champagne. Both of the guests of honor clearly get drunk at the end of the party. Several other people drink alcohol, and a few people smoke there at the party.
Eyes Wide Shut.
No. Frightening and intense scenes.
That movie sucked, huh? He's going to try and have sex with one prostitute who, like, some very aggressive prostitute, and he misses out on it, but she had AIDS.
Oh, really? And Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah. You didn't see that movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
Well, it's pretty good, especially if you like really elaborate formal orgy scenes.
That is
if that's the case, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, that's one of my fetishes. Like Louis C.K. says that we'll talk about later. Now everyone knows my thing. Let's see. Frightening and intense scenes. The whole film is full of deadly peril. Which can be frightening, suspenseful, and intense to teens and children. As the plot, I can't tell you because it explains what the plot is. And yeah, I can't say the rest of it.
Is this the movie Ghost Ship?
No.
Oh. What's so funny? It sounds very similar to Ghost Ship.
It might be pretty similar to Ghost Ship. Let's see. More sex and nudity. Oh man, this is gonna give it away too. All right, I'll just say it though. As the hostages are rescued off the elevator, a woman's dress rides up, and her thong and most of her butt is seen.
Huh? That didn't help actually. Is this Resident Evil?
No. Let's see.
Speed?
Yeah, it's Speed.
Okay.
The rest of this thing says, I love this phrase, by the way. The whole film is full of deadly peril. As the plot is about a bus that will blow up if it travels under 50 miles per hour after it travels at over 50.
You thought that would give it away?
Yeah, I thought maybe that would give you I thought maybe that'd give away the ghost there.
Ghost Ship. I'm still going with Ghost Ship.
Yeah, Ghost Ship.
You can't fool me.
Ghost Ship's pretty close, right? I don't know what that's about, but
What's Ghost Ship? I could have sworn you've seen that movie. It's a movie with Julianne Margulies.
Julianne Margulies. I mean, I know who that is.
And they're on a ship, and there's a bunch of ghosts on the ship.
There's a goddamn ghost in it. Maybe I have seen it like a long time. I've seen a lot of bad movies that I've forgotten about.
Yeah, that's true.
Ghost Ship. Oh, no. Now I got the skeptical skeptics.
Well, unfortunately, my IMDb clues are for Ghost Ship.
Oh, hey, the poster of Ghost Ship is great. It's just, it looks like the Titanic, but it's got a skull face on it.
Yeah, that represents a ghost.
Oh, Gabriel Byrne. And let's see.
Yeah, he's in there too.
Isaiah Washington. And, I like Carl Urban. Italian Ocean Liner, the Antonio Grazzi. Yeah, I probably saw this. I probably saw this on VHS or DVD way back when.
Probably.
Are you ready? Epps in it? Yeah, I'm ready.
I don't think Omar Epps is in there.
No, I think it's just, despite the title, it is unrelated to the 1952 film of the same name. Oh.
I was worried about that.
The poster difference between the 2002 Ghost Ship and the 1952 Ghost Ship is amazing. It's just, it says Ghost Ship in spooky wavy letters.
Nice.
Oh, it looks ridiculous and campy. All right, I'm ready.
All right. 6 Sour P226.
A 6 Sour P. What did you say?
6 Sour P226.
Is that James Bond's gun? I will say GoldenEye.
This will probably give it away. Beretta 93R.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is imfdb.com. I'm on the wrong site. Just a second, please.
The internet database of firearms.
Yes.
What is?
I would probably do better. We went by that site.
Oh, James Bond is to Walther, right?
PBK, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The main character is seen lying on the couch with an open bottle of liquor next to have been drinking quite a lot.
Leaving Las Vegas?
No.
Oh, okay.
The same character appears at a bar and asks for a Dewar's with 7 aspirin back.
Leaving Las Vegas?
No. Nicolas Cage. Oh, never mind. A female character dances somewhat provocatively with her shirt tied up, revealing her belly.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
No. Elizabeth Shue.
Okay.
During a conference call, the signals get crossed and a dominatrix-themed sex service ends up on the line. She mentions dominating and being dominated. What a hoot.
Oh my god. Is this the Jerky Boys?
No.
Okay. Hey, Chisel Chest.
It's not the sequel either.
Right. Do you remember? You saw the Jerky Boys movie, right?
I saw them at home. I didn't see it in the theater.
Mm-hmm. My favorite was, "Hi, my name is Saul Rosenberg, and I bought glasses from you 4 days ago." Alex used to love that shit.
Hey, you know the movie The Jerky Boys? You said you saw it, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Well, at the very end when he's on the phone and he's talking to President Clinton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's just an actor.
That's not the actual President Clinton?
No, I found that out a few years ago. It's actually just like an actor.
Oh, I thought it was really... That's disappointing. That's really sad. I thought it was actually President Clinton.
What are you, a sizzle chest?
Get Brett Weir. There was something so, I don't know, wholesomely innocent about... But he
was trying to get him into a three-way!
Exactly. It was I think that maybe that was the last, we're doing something we shouldn't, we're not supposed to be, but it's it's such innocent mischief.
Oh man, speaking of innocent mischief, I actually brought a story today. Mm-hmm. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
I've kind of heard of this person before too. I got it off Snapchat. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with Snapchat, Mark?
Yes, I'm familiar with the Snap. Although I was in a play several years ago, and I was the old person in the play, and there were several young kids in there. And we went out to, after the first rehearsal, we went out to Applebee's, and they were all talking about Snapchat, and I didn't know what it was at the time. And I said, I don't want to be this guy, but what the hell is Snapchat? And they all laughed, but they were so eager to show me. They were like, "Oh, let me show you how to do it. Download on your phone." And yeah, they were very excited to show me what Snapchat was.
That's a really wholesome story there, Mark. Are you familiar with, obviously you're familiar with YouTube prankster Vitaly Zdarovetsky?
Of course, yes. Frequent pranker, yes.
YouTube prankster Vitaly Zdarovetsky was arrested Sunday for attacking a woman in Florida.
Holy shit! The
28-year-old Russian-American allegedly jumped out and tackled a woman who was jogging by herself in Miami Beach.
What a prank!
The way told police that Zdorovetsky straddled her and repeatedly punched her in the chest and face.
Oh, God. That woman was in a fight she did not sign up for.
The victim told police that she screamed for help during the attack, which is witnessed by several passerby and residents. He eventually stopped hitting her and ran back inside a nearby house where he was arrested. I mean, what a prankster!
Yeah. It was later.
She told police she'd never seen or met him before.
The video was later uploaded to YouTube where it got 10,000 views or 10 million views or whatever.
Probably.
10 million is probably more likely. Oh my God. How horrifying. There's a similar story, actually. I don't know if you are aware of who Ezra Miller is.
Yeah, that was pretty kind of funny, just because he's like one of those like super woke kind of people, you know?
Yes.
Like I have no sexuality, or I have all the sexualities.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep, he is exactly one of those people, and apparently he got
the Flash, more like the Flash in the pan. Am I right? Actually, he's been around for a while.
But yeah, he got caught punching a woman in a bar, apparently. So
you know what they say about justice?
It's
better than Ezra. Oh wow!
Yeah. So big weekend for men beating the shit out of women randomly and putting it on video. So good.
I think that Ezra Miller guy was like in like Sweden or one of those shit countries, and it was like just everybody was still out like at a bar because they don't have like a quarantine type thing.
Right. Yeah. Sweden doesn't give a shit about coronavirus. That when you're living in dark for 23 hours out of every day and you're eating salted fish, yeah, you're just like, oh, bring on.
You have to fuck reindeer just to find something to do.
Yep. Bring on the coronavirus, please, to Sweden. Sweden specifically.
Damn.
No, everyone stay safe in Sweden, I guess.
Our one listener there, be safe.
Yep. Yeah. Everyone else can fuck off, but we're talking specifically to you, the one person in Sweden. I will tell you to be safe in your native language. Their
language really does sound like that.
It's very sing-songy. Yeah, Swedish is a very sing-songy language.
All right. Well, there's no overt violence or gore. The movie is set at a military training camp, so many characters fire and carry weapons, stab into dummies with bayonets, and shout words like "kill."
A military training camp, but there's no. So it's not Child's Play, like Child's Play 3 or whatever, because there's no overt violence. No. Stripes?
No, I'm not a Bill Murphy fan.
I know. David Swiss and Bill Murphy, if they ever did a movie together.
That'd be really bad. Oh, he's such a great dramatic actor, and he's so funny.
Right.
To both. A few students get into mild altercation.
All right. It's a military academy. They're getting into some mild altercations here. There's some shenanigans going on. People are drinking. I will say School Ties.
No.
That's not a academy, though.
Simulating fighting and killing during a stage production of Henry V.
What the fuck? You would think I'd know it from these clues. A stage production of Henry V, but they're at a military academy as well.
Yes. It's possible you haven't seen this, I guess.
I mean, I guess, but I probably have. Let's see. Toy Soldiers.
That is a great guess, but no, it's not Toy Story.
All right.
Oh, Toy Soldiers is what you there.
What'd you say?
I thought you said Toy Story because you were cut off, but I realized you must have said Toy Soldiers.
I did say
and that's
Toy
also
Soldiers.
not correct.
Yeah. Wait, is it Toy Story then? Toy Story. Wait, Toy Story 2. That's the one with Henry V.
No.
All right.
Oh, I actually, that might be all the clues. Let me double check. There might be one more. Oh, yeah, here's one more.
Okay.
A few characters discuss incest in the context of Hamlet, and a character mentions Hamlet's mother, quote unquote, giving up the punani to Uncle.
Ooh, okay. So, not really incest because it was by marriage, but
You seem to already have an opinion on that one, Mark.
Oh yeah, I have a solid opinion on let's see. So, they're talking about Shakespeare a lot, but they're at a military academy.
I mentioned there were students.
Yeah, it's definitely not Shakespeare in Love. Students. Man, I don't know. I will say. Oh no, they're not at a military academy. I don't think, anyway. No, there'd be other things too. Scent of a Woman is what I was thinking of, but there'd be other.
It's not.
There'd be other stuff in there. Shakespeare.
How about I'll give you the director's name.
Okay.
Penny Marshall.
Oh. Okay. That's. So let's see. Movies she did.
Actor's name's
Renaissance Man?
You want to come? Renaissance Man. Yep.
Oh, it's another Danny DeVito film. I forgot we were doing Danny DeVito films. I have seen Renaissance Man too.
You got DeVito'd.
I've seen most of Danny DeVito's films. Yeah, all right, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, Renaissance Man. Wow. Yeah, I got DeVito'd. Hey, Mary Lou Henner, be on the show.
Hey, Penny, what are we doing at the scene?
Hey, I can do a Penny Marshall impersonation, too. Hey, Danny.
Kind of like a Danny DeVito?
Yeah, hey, Danny. You're just standing over there. Same thing. If you've ever smoked and lived in New York, that's the impersonation. Oh, good one.
Yes.
So, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about this week because we've watched many a thing. Mike, let's start with the worst thing first. So, for me, anyway, that's going to be the film. Mike and I.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mike and I saw The Hunt. We either paid $20 for it or I don't know. We saw it some way. No judgments to anybody if you pay $20 for the movie, but it's not worth $20. So, Mike,
I would agree with that.
You don't agree? You liked the movie?
No, I'd agree with that, but I do like the movie.
Okay. So I didn't know exactly what to think of this movie. I guess you guys mostly should probably know what it's about. It's the liberals are hunting conservatives movie. So there's the rich elite liberals and they're hunting the conservative like rednecks basically. And one thing, like, this is what I didn't understand. The tone of the film is weird and jarring to me because it's I guess it's supposed to be a satire. Because like there are scenes with
sort of. There
are scenes with the liberals that they're all sitting around and they'll be like, don't you're appropriating culture there. And so and it's not like maybe some liberals talk to each other that way, like have a normal conversation that way in real life, face to face. But I don't think a lot of them do. And then it's the same thing with the conservatives, where they're like, oh, you're you're a crisis actor, or they're talking about how
they kind of like there's a thing kind of like Pizzagate the movie.
Yes.
Where it's, is it Manorgate, I believe?
Yes, that's what it's called, Manorgate.
So let's just explain a little bit. So the very opening scene is they're on a plane, and Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny in Philadelphia is like some kind of wealthy snob guy. He's ordering caviar on the plane, and he's like, "Oh, you've never had caviar, have you?" To the stewardess.
Right.
All of a sudden, like some kind of like a guy in like overalls comes out, and he's like, he looks like he's all like kind of like staggering about. He was drugged. A doctor, goes up to him and he just kills him there. He goes, "Oh, you weren't supposed to wake up." So it's like the wealthy elite are, like you said, it's exactly like these, famous liberals are hunting these, conservative redneck types. And then when you get to, they kind of, do they parachute? I don't remember how they get out. I think they must have landed and they kind of drug them again, and then they wake up. It's very similar in a lot of ways to similar murder game type movies. Mm-hmm. So it's not an overt game. It's more like the movie. What's the one with the Double Impact? No, not Double. Oh, shit, I'm an idiot. I don't remember the name. The Van Damme movie where he gets hunted.
Oh, fuck! We did that one time on Guess the Plot. Way a long time ago.
I know. This is really going to annoy me. It's the first John Woo movie in America. Hard Target. That's what it is.
Yeah, Hard Target.
It's very similar in that respect. It's also similar to the Hunger Games because they open this big crate. There's just weapons everywhere, and when they're grabbing the weapons, all of a sudden people just start firing at them.
It kind of also reminds me of the movie Predators. Did you ever see Predators with?
Yeah, I would say it's similar to that.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah. I watched it again recently, and I liked it more than when I originally saw it. But I mean, I think I have to watch it again to really get a good idea of how I really feel about that movie because I didn't like it in the theaters.
Yeah,
but it wasn't bad when I rewatched it.
I think it's a decently solid movie. I think it's probably the best Predator prequel or Predator sequel.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But yeah, they just wake up. Like the camera closes in on Julia Roberts' niece, aka Eric Roberts' daughter, Emily Roberts, I think, and then we see her again, but she's
Emma, I believe.
Yeah, Emma. That's right, Emma Roberts. But she's.
I thought that person looked familiar. I wasn't sure who it was.
I thought she was going to be the star of the movie. I was because I saw her mostly just her in the trailer and stuff like that. So I thought she was going to be the star of the movie. And that was one of the things that I liked at the beginning was they keep following these people. And it's like, so, obviously spoilers for this movie, but they wake up, like you said, they open this crate, a pig comes out and, and they're like, what the fuck? And then this guy, and also they've got these things on their faces there's a key and they're like gags on their faces so they can't talk to each other. And they wheel this thing out and it's a bunch of guns. So they start loading up, they start like handing out guns to each other. Meanwhile, Emma Roberts has found the key. So she, unlocks the one guy's thing. He unlocks her thing. And they're all unlocking stuff. And she's like, what's going on? And all of a sudden her fucking head explodes because she gets taken out by a sniper. And I was like, oh, sweet. So any one of them can die. That's cool because she's kind of like a known person. Yeah. I thought she was.
Sure, yeah, it was almost.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was obviously, I think it was a testament to both Scream and Psycho. Scream, of course, being like, a tribute to Psycho, where like the biggest actor in the whole movie. I guess you could argue that Glenn Howerton is more famous. I don't know. Yeah. But she's just like, really disposed of it. And there's a whole sequence of people like getting taken. You keep, like you said, you keep thinking they're going to follow somebody and then that person gets killed. And it's like a really elaborate, series of violent events.
Yeah, I really liked the opening. I thought,
yeah, it was good. There was some stuff that was, again, the Emma Roberts thing, was a surprise, but it's been done before. I think the mask things with the keys are kind of like something from Saw. I would think, something like that. It was a good opening sequence, so I did enjoy it.
And then so we finally settle on a group of people for a minute anyway, and they escape to this gas station. And they go in, they start talking. It's one of them's like, I'm from New York. The other one's like, I'm from Florida. And he looks...
Yeah, the clerks are an old married couple. So where are we?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He looks exactly like someone from, like a cliche of someone from Florida.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, they say they're in Arkansas, and they're all like, "Oh, fucking Arkansas," and I'm thinking, like, is Arkansas that much worse than Florida?
That's a good question.
It seemed a weird way to react. But one of them starts kind of like choking, like foaming at the mouth. She's been walking around eating some donuts and stuff at the store. You know, the one guy's calls 911, and he's like, "Hey, you know, people are trying to kill us and everything. It's this Manorgate." They keep mentioning this Manorgate stuff. He's like, "It's this Manorgate people, these rich people. They're getting together and they're trying to kill us." And 911's like, "Yeah, of course we'll send somebody out." Like, it's very, like,
obvious.
Yeah, anyone could tell that that's like, oh, I'm not really talking to 911. So she starts dying, and they're all like, "What the fuck?"
And they look over.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they look over, and the old couple are wearing, like, you know, full, like, you know, like gas masks.
Yeah, they look like they're getting ready for, you know, Nuremberg or something.
Or grocery shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Grocery shopping in 2020.
Right.
But, yeah, they throw this lethal gas, and the people start dying. And then they have, you know, it's revealed, obviously, that they're part of this as well. And they start having this incredibly unbelievable conversation, like I said, where they're like, you know, he says something like, he's like, "Oh, you know, a black guy," or something like that. And she's like, "African American." And he's like, "No, it's okay to call them blacks now." And she's like, "Says who?" "NPR, which is full of white people." And like, it's just, I don't know. It's like, maybe some people have conversations like this, but it's very unrealistic.
I think these conversations entirely are online.
Yeah, I agree. If people do talk like this, but like you said, online, not face to face like this. But I'm thinking that it's meant to be this way. It's like, it's, you know, hyper realistic to prove.
Actually, that's not true. I've seen many videos of people acting just like this in public, and it's just very cringy.
Well, maybe it's a generation thing though. Then, because I mean, or just the bubble that I live in, because I don't speak like this with my friends.
Oh no, but I've seen people, like, on, you know, in videos online, like emulating, like, online, like, speak as if it's like how people in reality speak.
Oh God,
it was pretty funny. It was like some guy at, like, a some meeting or something, and he's like, "Whoa, you know, I don't know that I feel comfortable with, you know, a woman being in charge of this, just because, you know, it was really weird, the conversation." He's like, "Oh, the majority are women, and therefore it's reversed, like, appropriate." I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have this, and then there's, like, another scene where they're on a train, and like, it's like this woman who's traveling with, like, this ultra real, like, you know, hyper aggressively conservative Manorgate, and even mentions Pizzagate as well, type, and he's a podcaster, of course.
Hail!
So they hop on a train.
Viva la podcasts!
Right. Yeah, they hop on a train. And there's like there's a family on there, and he's like, "Oh, they're crisis actors." You know, he starts going on and on about that. And all of a sudden, the train stopped by the military. Mm-hmm. They get taken off, and then one of the other passengers, he like goes over. He goes, "Hey, don't worry, I'll get you guys back to where we're supposed to be at." And then I get the first crack at you. So, and then this guy starts freaking out. He has a grenade somehow, and he drops it on the guy who says he's gonna, you know, hunt them down. Shirt. Mm-hmm. He explodes, which is pretty crazy sequence, and then they escape.
Yep.
It's honestly, a lot of this movie is just kind of like a blur to me. It's just like a bunch of violent sequences, like on top of violent sequences.
Yeah, I should point out that we meet our main character, who is she's probably most famous for the Netflix show Glow. She's Liberty something. Liberty Bell, I think, is her name on that show. Or her wrestler name on that show, I guess. But she goes into the gas station, and she doesn't buy it for a second that they're in Arkansas, because she orders a pack of cigarettes, and they cost more. She charges them more than they would cost in Arkansas. And so she grabs.
She figures it out immediately.
Yeah, she grabs the gun and kills them. She says later that she's a veteran of Afghanistan, so she's been in the military. She's had training and everything. And she
goes outside and there's a car. She peels up the license plate and realizes it's actually like a fake Arkansas plate over what is some kind of European tag. She can't quite.
Right. And so when the military gets them, her and My Name is Earl, Ethan Suplee.
Is that who that was?
Yeah, that's Ethan Suplee.
Oh wow, yeah, I wasn't under. I thought it looked like him at first, but I didn't think it was him. So I don't understand.
Yeah, that guy's like super jacked now, but he like even better looking, like even like leaner and more muscular than he is in this movie now.
Yeah, isn't this movie a couple years old or just a little bit old?
I think it is a couple years old, and it got delayed several times. Ironically, or stupidly, Trump was like, he was ultra against this movie and didn't want it to come out, but it's kind of more in the favor of conservatives, I think, than it is in liberals. I mean, in the end, I think it doesn't. I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get to the end and what I think the hero of the film actually represents. But so they get abducted by the military, and then she kind of guesses. She's like, "I'm guessing we're either here, or here." And one of the here's turns out to be Croatia, which is where they are. And so she's like, "Yeah, we got we're being hunted by these people." They started shooting at us, and they bring this old guy, Ted, I think his name is, and he's like, yeah, he said the same thing, that he's being hunted, and this guy comes from the American embassy, supposedly, and says, I'm here to get you out and all this stuff. They separated her from Ethan Suplee, so it was her and the old guy. They get taken. And he's driving along and he's asking a bunch of questions. He's being very obvious, where he's like, so, why do you think, they'd be doing this to you? And the old guy's like, what, like it's our fault? And he's like, no, I'm not victim blaming. God forbid I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of references in the movie to like they have like a purpose or a reason why they kidnapped them, and they want them to say why it was. I'm not quite sure what the ideas behind that.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure either, but that is one of the things that they bring up a lot. So she figures out that he's one of them, and she kicks him out of the car, rolls over his head, smashes it, opens the trunk, sees Ethan Suplee there dead, and says, oh, we're going back here. And he's like, the old guy's counting. He's like, so we're the only two left, because he counted up all the people that were there. So it's her and him, and they drive to the compound where everyone is staying. And I think, no, she's not there yet. The main character, who is, for some reason, it's like it's supposed to be this big reveal, I guess, of who it is. But she's also like in all the credits and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. But maybe it would have been if it had been allowed to come out in the theaters. Maybe it would have been a big reveal who it is. It's Boys Don't Cry. What's her name?
Hilary Swank?
Yeah, Hilary Swank, yeah.
Oh, is that who that was?
Yeah. She's the main bad
guy. That didn't look like her at all.
No, she's definitely they did a lot with her makeup, but yeah, she looks different than normal. But anyway, so they go to the compound, and they basically take out all the people there waiting at the compound, including this military guy that was hired to consult them. I guess he's been training them for like 8 months. And then I don't know if this is where we get the flashback or not. But at some point we get a flashback that basically lays out all, why the movie's existing. And
yeah, like this person, the main bad guy, like she was like in online rumors about this thing called Manor Gate, where they claimed she had a house in Connecticut where she would, put poor people and conservatives out there and just hunt them down. Then her job fired her because she wouldn't like apologize or resign, even though it was like a complete rumor.
It was a joke, yeah.
Yeah,
they were
like they
just-
kind of like played into the joke, like some crazy conservative came up with something, and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah," they were joking to their friends about it.
Mm-hmm.
So all her friends have been fired. So her place fired her as well, and they basically were all already wealthy to begin with. So they had like some consortium where they tried to find a group of suitable people to hunt because, like you said, the military consultant said they should only have a dozen at first.
Yeah,
which seems like a lot since there were less of them than that. But then they you show that all the people in there like are these like they were these wealthy people who were friends, and like you just decided to hunt humans. The guy who was blown up in the train, he was actually like he pretended to be a refugee from Iran. He actually was from Iran,
right.
But then they were joking that he was appropriating that. A lot of those references and stuff flashing back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
We cut back, and I actually thought this was a very good fight sequence between the two ladies at the end. Like it was very realistic. It wasn't like it was hyper violent. Like you could see it. I mean, there was something at the end that was kind of ridiculous, but I mean, it looked like a really like almost like a Kill Bill, like Uma Thurman and I don't remember her name at the very
Daryl
beginning.
Hannah.
No,
Lucy Liu.
No, what's her name? Shit, I don't remember her name.
Oh, you're talking about the first movie where they have that fight in the kitchen.
Yes.
Oh, what is her name? She was in.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but I know what you're talking
Is she the one married to Dwayne Wade?
Maybe not Lisa. Damn it.
No.
I can't think of
You're thinking Gabrielle. It's not Gabrielle Union. Shit, what's her fucking name? But regardless, it's like it's very similar in quality to that fight. It's a long, prolonged, knockdown, drag out fight. At the end, there's something saw blade, and they cut each other with the saw blades, and then as they're laying there, they kind of ask each other, she goes, "Was that guy really, was he really with you, or was he, And she's like, "Oh, I won't tell," or whatever, And then she goes, "What about you?" Because the main character, she goes, "Yeah, actually, you got the wrong person. There's somebody who has the same name as me. I get her mail and stuff," because she thought she was like this, daughter of like these deceased meth addicts and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And she goes, "Was I right?" She goes, "Actually, no, that wasn't me at all. Like I was being honest, it's not me." And then this is a weird sequence. I thought at first she had died. Did you feel that way when you first saw this?
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
Yeah, but then she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm good." And she just gets up completely unscathed, and the other woman's dead, I guess. And then she gets dressed and just kind of wanders off.
Yeah, and then she goes to the plane that's waiting there, and she's like, "Hey, I killed all the assholes that you work for because they were trying to kill me. So just take me home." And then
the same stewardess, she's like, "Oh, have you ever tried caviar?" She's like, "Oh, have a seat, have some."
Right. Yeah, she tells this story too, to the old guy. After she kills the guy in the car, where she tells the story of the tortoise and the hare, basically. But then she says her mom told her this when she was a kid. But then she adds on to it at the end that after the race, the rabbit breaks into the tortoise's house, murders his children and wife, and then murders him because the rabbit always wins. And then when she's laying there and we think she's dying, a rabbit jumps into the house, and she's like, "Oh, and then that's what gives her the impetus to get up." Now, I would have liked the movie a lot better if they had both just died. If they had just gone that route, they both died, everything's and the message was basically hey, you fucking morons, being opposed all the time and fighting and never listening to each other and stuff like that. You're gonna eventually kill each other. That would have been a decent message. But I think, and I could be wrong, I think that the message of the movie is basically, here's the liberals, way left liberals, and they're terrible. And here's the conservatives, way conservative, and they're also terrible. And our main character, because she wasn't the person that Hilary Swank thought she was, I think she basically just represents, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I don't care about what you're talking about. My life is more important and more interesting than just who I voted for in the last election and if I think abortion should be legal or not. I think that's kind of what she represents, and that's why she's the one that gets to win. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I know. I thought the movie, as far as one of my favorite genres is obviously
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
futuristic murder games. This was kind of similar. I mean, it was a murder game, we'll call it. Yeah, I like that. Um, I think it's rewatchable. It's a movie that I wouldn't have to pay a lot of close attention. There's a lot of fun scenes in it, though. It's
Hmm.
as far as the genre goes, it's a decent entry, I would say.
I'll give it that. It's rewatchable. I would probably watch it again. It's not. It's
I don't think the writing was as sharp as they intended. Like, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of wry like jokes or really slick like sarcastic commentary is few and far between. I mean, the performances are okay. Glenn Howerton basically plays the same character from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
mm,
Um, Hilary Swank, she's good in it. I didn't realize it was her, but she's a good actress. I didn't realize it was Ethan Suplee. The performances are good. They were fine. I mean, they weren't terrible.
the problem that I have, the biggest problem that I have with the movie is that it either goes too far or doesn't go far enough. And by that I mean, I think you could make for this idea, I think you could make it really good if it was subtle, understated, and not quite. If the violence should be, violent, obviously. So I don't mean that, but I mean like the message, like subtle, understated, and not super overt. Or you could also make a really good movie by going way the other way and making it like almost silly. Like a satire that's almost like a farce, like that far. And I think that
Like World's Greatest Dad or Serial Mom kind of level.
Exactly. And I think that's what they were kind of going for, but they didn't quite hit that right note. If John Waters had like you mentioned Serial Mom, if like John Waters had directed this movie, I could see it being more of the success they wanted it to be, in my opinion. But it's not the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, for sure.
No, it wasn't bad, but I mean, like you said, I really don't think it's necessarily like an conservative thing. I mean, I don't really see why anyone would be. I don't see why it's controversial, really, is what it is. I mean, was there like a shooting near the time it happened or something? Other than that, I don't see why it would be like banned or controversial.
Yeah, that's what it was. There was a couple shootings before it was scheduled to be released, so it kept getting delayed because of that. But
I'm surprised things still get delayed because of shootings.
Right? No kidding. Yeah, it's stuff like that happens and it just goes over people's heads at this point. But no, I agree with you. I don't think Damon Lindelof and I can't remember his first name, but Carlton Coos's brother, Carlton Coos worked on one of my favorite shows of all time, Briscoe County Jr. And Carlton Coos also worked on Lost with Damon Lindelof. So that's
Were you gotten by the what do you call it, Bruce Campbell prank with the Briscoe County Jr.
With the Briscoe County Jr. what?
Yeah, on April 1st, Bruce Campbell put out like a picture of him, like at his current age, and it said Briscoe County Jr. The return.
Oh no, I did not. I didn't
joke.
see that. I would have been incredibly excited though.
But I wonder if it was just like a test, like a lot of people reacted. Maybe we could do like a one-off on Netflix or something.
I hope they do. I love Briscoe County Jr. and I definitely think they should bring it back. But yeah, so they wrote it, and Damon Lindelof's pretty like a pretty liberal guy. But I don't think this movie is supposed to have a point of view politically like that. I don't think it's supposed to be like liberals are good, conservatives are bad, or conservatives are good and liberals are bad. I mean, obviously the liberals are the villains in this movie, but I don't think it really, kind of like I said, I mean, this is my opinion, but I think it's supposed to kind of say like, neither of them are good.
Honestly, that might be a first in a Hollywood movie where the liberals are the bad guys.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. But yeah, so it's, like I said, I wouldn't pay $20 for it, but eventually it'll come to Netflix or Hulu or something. Someplace will get it to stream for free or for your subscription price. And, I'd check it out then. Or if you can find
It's a fun movie. It doesn't really offer anything new, though. I mean,
Yeah.
in any part of it. Except, I do think it's a very good fight sequence at the end.
Yeah.
with Hillary Swank and the other lady.
Yeah, I agree with that. That fight sequence is very well choreographed. So kudos to their fight coordinator for sure. But next thing, I guess, I don't know. Let's talk about Louis C.K. next. We both saw. You saw it a few weeks ago when it came out. I recently saw.
I want to make sure you got the money right away.
Yeah, exactly. I recently saw the Louis C.K. stand-up, Sincerely Louis C.K., I think it's called.
Is that the new one, you mean?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right.
I think it's like a love letter to his fans. So it was filmed apparently in Washington, D.C., because he mentions Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He does say that.
And, you know, obviously it was filmed a little while ago because, and he does one joke, he does this like set, this series of jokes or whatever about, retarded, the word retarded. And I remember thinking, I've heard this before. I'm like, did I from Louis? I'm like, did I hear that? Like, is this like recycled from another special? What is this? And then I remembered, somebody put like a small set that he did at like the Comedy Store or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, Louis, you know, touring again. What a piece of shit," you know, and stuff like that. And that was the thing that got put on YouTube or whatever. And I was like, "Oh,
Gotcha.
yeah, that's why I remember that." But he does.
That was a really funny segment.
Yeah, it is, and it's interesting. Like one of the things that I like,
it's not incorrect.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things I like about Louis C.K., and this is just something that good comedians are able to do, is Louis C.K. has a very certain point of view on things. And he's able to humorously explain to you his thought process and why he thinks the way he does. So it makes you think, it gives you a perspective, somebody else's perspective, and it makes you laugh at the same time. And you know, Chappelle, Norm Macdonald, you know, the best comedians out there have an ability to do that. I just thought of a Norm Macdonald clip I saw recently where he was, I think this was during his, I can't remember what it was, but what he had said, but apparently Seth Meyers was, you know, upset about him.
I think I saw this exact same thing today.
Where he was like, well, it's not something I would do.
He was talking about how I think Eddie Murphy didn't want to play
That's right.
Bill Cosby.
That's right. It was.
He's like, Seth Meyers like, well, I don't think you should publicly discuss the inner workings of, you know, SNL. It's kind of private. It's
not something I would do. And then like the interviewer is like, but he goes on to be complimentary of you and stuff. And he's like, Norm Macdonald's like Seth Meyers, you know, like, and he's like, you know, what do you think? The interviewer goes, what do you think about his show? Whose show? And I love it that Norm gets the interviewer to say it, to set him up. Like he verbally wove that conversation so the interviewer would set him up. And he goes, Seth.
And Norm does that actually a lot, I've noticed. Like if he's thinking of something, he'll be like, what? Huh? What?
Yeah.
To the point where like people imitating him will make the same mannerisms, but you know, he'll give himself an extra half second and it's completely worth it.
But yeah, so he goes, what? Whose show? What show? And he goes, Seth Meyers' show. And then Norm goes, it's not something I would do.
Yeah, that's a very bad show. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh, I've seen it, yeah. Norm is the best. But so Louis C.K. Overall, I thought it was a fine stand-up special. It's not his best, but you know, it's
his worst. I don't know if that is his worst, but his low is someone else's high. He's a master of the form of comedy.
Yep.
He literally can make you like laugh over the most like horrific subjects, including his own sexual assault or whatever you want to call it incidents that occurred.
Yeah, because he brings it up and he alludes to it a few times early on, and I'm thinking to myself every time he brings it up, I'm thinking like, oh, that's it. That's all he's going to say about it. But at the end, he gets into it, like, you know, for an extended period of time where he he doesn't come out and say, look, what happened to me was wrong or anything like that. He doesn't, obviously he doesn't go that far, but he says, look, when you're in a position of power and, you're doing sex and stuff like that, he's like, when you ask somebody's consent and they say yes, don't just start right away. He's like, make sure, are you sure? He's like, check in frequently. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, he basically says that's just what he's into, and like he probably should have checked more or asked more than once. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you think is that excusable?
So, I'll give you the perspective of my wife. So I told Carol, I was like, I'm gonna watch this for the show.
You locked her into a room.
Yeah, and said,
"Tell me, give me some feedback on this." I don't.
But so I said we're gonna watch I gotta watch this for the show. You want to watch it with me? And she goes, no, I don't want to watch it because I don't want to support him because he's like an asshole, right? Because she didn't really know much about the story. She's like, he's a sexual assaulter, right? It's terrible. And I was like, well, I mean, it depends on what you think is sexual assault. And I said the stuff I've said on this show before. There's a continuum between, somebody that's never done any kind of sexual, that's never done anything, untowards as far as sexual assault goes. And then, Bill Cosby, serial rapist. There's a continuum between those 2 points. And where does Louis C.K. fall on the continuum? Is he closer to Harvey Weinstein? Is he closer to Aziz Ansari? Where is he at?
We should make a scale. That'd be fun.
We should make a Me Too scale. But
I can't remember the name of the guy who was like accused of hugging somebody.
Oh, Joe Biden?
No, he's in more than that.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was like some PBS person who like had just like hugged somebody.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
You love Al Franken to Bill Cosby. Where does this stand?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But so I read her. I went to the internet and I read her the whole rundown of the content.
To the internet.
Yes. I was like, to the internet, Carol. And I read her the rundown on the entire controversy and, how he had asked for consents, and stuff like that and everything. And when I was done, she was like, oh, well, okay, I'll watch it. She was like, she was like, she kind of, I didn't like, prompt her or anything, but she kind of came around to my point of view, which is like, he shouldn't have done it. It wasn't what he did in the form that he did it wasn't right. Like if you're dating somebody or whatever. I mean, if you're not in a situation when you're at work, and everything, that's probably not the place to do it. And, I mean, there were a couple incidences where I think it was, I mean, I don't want to say completely fine, but where it was more appropriate, like after parties and stuff like that, stories like that got told. I think that's more of an appropriate venue for it. But I don't think what he did was or all the incidences were exactly right. But I also don't think they rose to the level of this man can never earn a living again. So that's how I feel about him, basically. It's not sure. It's not how I would have. It's not something I would have done. but I it's his kink and whatever. I mean, he did ask for permission. Even the people, who came forward said he asked for permission. So, I mean,
yeah, but there's always the argument, that much like with a statutory type situation, is the other person in a position to say no.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's why, especially in the workplace and stuff like that, I think it's a lot more dicey because you could feel like it's your boss. You could feel like you might not be able to say no, even if he's not.
Since he's a super popular, super successful comedian, if I cross him, maybe he'll ruin my chances of ever becoming.
Yeah, but then I mean, I understand that, and I understand that thought process, but at the same time, it's like, so if this is your kink, then you can just never do it if you get super popular. Like,
Right.
would it?
And then they do say he stopped doing it as he became more popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm uncomfortable with standards or laws that apply to one group of people but not to another group of people. So it's like, if you're a super famous or successful person, you can't do this. But if you work at Home Depot and you ask for consent to masturbate in front of, somebody, and they say yes, then it's okay. That
guy is a nuisance, I tell you. But if you need some tile, he knows right where it's at. You're doing a bathroom remodeling. Yeah, that'll be aisle 13. Yeah, this is a weird question. Do you mind if I masturbate in front of you? Come on, Carl.
This fence needs to get whitewashed. But yeah, so it's like I said, it's an iffy situation. I understand, and I'm fine with consequences that he's paid for this. But I don't think he should be ostracized. He's not a social pariah to me. And apparently Carol feels the same way. But speaking of Joe Biden real quick.
No.
There's a story out right now. Where
did he make somebody did he make somebody watch him make mushroom sauce as well?
No. He apparently this woman had accused him of sexual harassment in the workplace, and then now she's saying,
and he said she put the ass in sexual harassment.
That is probably something he'd say, because he's known for screwing up with his words, but as am I. But so now she's saying that he sexually assaulted her, and they're like, from the story that I read, they were like, we talked to the people that she said that she told the story to years ago, and 3 of them don't ever recall her saying anything about it, not even the sexual harassment. And then one person's like, oh, I remember, her accusing him of sexual harassment in a meeting, but never said anything about sexual assault. So it seems uncredible to me. But I posted the story on Twitter, and I said, believe every woman, right? Because that's what we're supposed to do, right? And then I hashtagged it me too, because I wanted all the liberals to come out and try to contort themselves into knots, because there was a story that had come out about Matt Patricia, the Lions head coach, a couple of years ago, I think. It was an old story that got dredged up again, where he had been accused of rape with another dude. He raped another guy? No, this girl. Him and another guy. And when you read the story and everything, it seems like basically she had a 3-way with the 2 guys, and then she got slut-shamed about it, and she was like, oh, well, I didn't want to. And that's kind of what happened. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's how I read the situation. But anyway, all this stuff got dredged up from years ago. The case had been thrown out. The woman didn't, when the newspaper contacted her, didn't have any statement, didn't want the story to come out or anything like that, just wanted to move on with her life. But they ran the story anyway. So I wrote an article for Michigan Sports and Entertainment when that used to be a thing, and basically kind of defended him, or it could be looked at as defended, and basically said that this is, a dumb story to come out now. It's, this is, stupid and all this stuff. And I got just Twitter message after Twitter message of, you're a piece of shit, we're coming for you next, fuck you, and believe every woman, all over and over again, believe every woman, no matter what, every woman. Cause for all these liberals, all these, these very tolerant liberals, when it comes to conservative politicians or people that they don't really care about, sports figures, movie stars, stuff like that, it's believe every woman. But when it's one of theirs, when it's a liberal politician, like with Joe Biden, all of a sudden it's going to be like, this woman's a fucking piece of shit and she's only doing this for... It won't be believe this woman, trust me. And that's the point that I was trying to make by posting that article. Not that I think that, Joe Biden sexually assaulted this woman, because, my opinion, I don't. My opinion is believe every woman is stupid. I don't
believe every woman is stupid.
Are most women telling the truth? Probably yes. But my point of view is look at the facts. Okay? Look at the facts.
But your point of view is, come on!
Come on, she was asking for it, Your Honor.
My point of view is sometimes they do ask for it.
Exactly. Like it's 1950s court where I'm just like, oh, look at the dress, look at the gams.
We're all smoking gams.
Judge is like, case dismissed. But no, look at the
this verdict brought to you by Carlton's.
Look at the Chesterfields. 21 tobaccos make 20 wonderful smokes. Look at the facts. Look at the credibility of the witness and everything. That Christine Blasey Ford, when she accused Kavanaugh of assaulting her, she had told people beforehand. She testified before Congress. I looked at the facts of that and I was like, yeah, she's probably telling the truth. This fucking dude probably did this. Probably did sexually assault her. I believe that. That's what I'm talking about. We're not a court of law, but, that's what happens in the court of public opinion. Look at the facts and figure out what you believe. Don't just blanketly believe everybody. Look at the actual facts. That's my point of view. Anyway, so and with Louis C.K., it's the same thing. So, they're saying that he asked for consent and they gave it. He says he asked for consent and they gave it. I mean, yeah, he probably shouldn't have done it, but I don't mind watching his comedy special. What did you think of it overall? Of the comedy special
I thought it was pretty funny. You think it would have been hilarious if you knew they were going to be like filming and you were in the front of the audience and you brought like a garbage bag like a Gallagher show?
I'm ready for you, Louis.
And he's like, he just starts whacking off. It's going to be funny. I thought it was pretty funny. I've seen that. My wife and I have listened to other clips by him that I thought were funnier, but I mean, there were some very hilarious moments, like the whole, R word, as we're going to call it, I suppose, segment. 100% true. I mean, that's, everything he says is accurate. Mm-hmm. And it really is just funny, like how like certain words just change their meaning because someone someday goes, oh, wait, that's not good.
Yeah. And like Louis C.K. said, it's because people started using it to mean, oh, you're dumb or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's probably a stupid way to use that word, or a retarded way to use that word if you prefer. See, that's the thing is like, I'm sure most of our audience thinks I'm probably some intolerant asshole, but I never used, gay or fag or retarded or any of those words. Like I never used those as slang ever. And not because.
Oh, see, I often did, but I never use it to refer to a person who is actually homosexual or somebody who actually had Down syndrome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I never have used those words in that context because they're not. They don't mean that. That's not the meaning of the word when you're using it with your friend.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But like I just never used them, not because I was like, oh, this is bad to say this. Just more like, I don't know. I just didn't. Those weren't the words I gravitated towards. Son of a bitch and, piece of shit. And piece of shit's one of my favorite things to say. If I think someone's an asshole, I call him a piece of shit. But anyway, or dumb fuck. I like that one a lot too. But people gravitate towards words for, whatever reason. And there was another comedian that did
Doug Stanhope had a very similar like a joke about that, how he goes, you never use that, he goes, you just use it to call your friend because he's being dumb or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was almost the exact same kind of thing, though. I don't think it was a copy. It's just parallel, it's a obvious kind of.
Right, exactly. But there's like way back in the 80s, there was this guy that was a comedian that was like talking about how, you know who it was? It was George Carlin. He he was like, after World War I, World War II, people got shell shocked. And he was like, and that was like a, hard hitting term. He's been shell shocked. Then it was combat fatigue.
I like how he has a lot of really good points about the softening of language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just a little fatigued, and everything. And yeah, he's, it's true about how we try to make things more pleasant through language, but sometimes something shouldn't sound pleasant. Something should sound harsh because they are harsh.
Yeah, that's what I like about those words is they are harsh, though I don't have any intention of them in the, I guess, the wrong way. But I mean, they're just like I like throwing bolts of lightning sometimes,
Oh yeah, for sure.
And because shocking humor is just funny to me.
Well, especially nowadays, if you say if you call someone a faggot or something like that, it's gonna raise eyebrows.
Oh my god, the Kids in the Hall when they're on tour, they played the song "Running Faggot" at the end for the encore. Every single person in the entire place is just singing along. It was the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. Oh my god, I bet half those people were just terrified of themselves for singing the words.
Right, that's awesome though.
that is one of the funniest sketches, anyways.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, he's a good comedian. He could just walk out there and come up with a hilarious set, I'm sure. So I mean, how much effort? And he claimed he's never going to talk about the thing again. I mean, I don't know. It seems like I don't feel that's really much of an excuse. Like, oh, I have a fetish. It's like, yeah, okay. People have fetishes. You don't have to, explore them with unwilling participants. I mean, you should assume the person's, unwilling. I mean, you can say, hey, do you mind if I do this? And what if they think you're joking and you start doing it? Is that okay? Is that the same thing? I mean, you're like, oh, well, you said. It's like, well, yeah, but the intent was not there. And
right.
I think in a lot of these, the intent was not clearly communicated or agreed upon. So, I mean, Louis could claim that he asked, but I mean, I'm sure he's an intelligent person, unless he's a complete sociopath, which is an option. I'm not trying to be funny, but many of his jokes and concepts and stuff. I mean, you could see if he were a sociopath, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, he did masturbate in between the falling of the World Trades.
Yeah. And he did this too. So, I mean, he's got to know that, even if someone says yes, they don't know, they can't believe he's actually going to do it.
Yeah, that is true.
And it's all he was going after famous female. I mean, you didn't hear Sarah Silverman going, "Oh, Louis showed up and started whacking off in front of me." She actually supported. I don't know if she still supports him, but she had supported him quite a bit after the scandal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not going after Roseanne, or Phyllis Diller.
Hey, Phyllis! Oh my God, Phyllis Diller. Well, Phyllis Diller wouldn't. Phyllis Diller wouldn't object because last time I checked, she was dead.
Yes. But she might have been alive during some of this.
Yeah, probably. Who knows? Cloris Leachman? She's still alive?
She is.
Yeah. So there you go. Cloris Leachman let Louis C.K. masturbate in front of you. I think that's what we're saying. I think that's our point, right?
No.
Well, that's your point, right? That's the point you're trying to make.
That point is, I mean, there was some predatory aspect to it because it seems like he always did it over, in front of people who weren't as famous or more famous than he. So, I mean, there was some power dynamic that probably was part of it to him.
That's a very good point too. You're making a lot of good points here. You're making me think a little bit here. Yeah, I could see the power aspect to it for sure. Which is, rape, same thing. I mean, this isn't rape, but
which is kind of fun. When you think about it, comedy itself has kind of that weird thing to it. Especially stand-up comedians are basically forcing somebody to react.
Yeah.
They're shaping and they're getting the joy out of making somebody do something that the person doesn't. I mean, the person wants to laugh, but you can't just go, I'm going to laugh and just start laughing. You'd be like a psycho, I mean, a laugh is something that basically has to be pulled out of somebody as far as stand-up comedy goes. So there's a weird kind of aspect like that to that as well. And if you notice, a lot of stand-up comedians do tend to have more aggressive personalities.
Yeah, Louis C.K. certainly knows how to pull things out. So
yes. I can't remember who. Maybe you would retweet it or you mentioned it, but it was funny that someone said, of course, Louis C.K. releases a special when no one is allowed to leave the house.
Right. Yeah. It's a funny line for sure.
Yeah.
But finally, because we haven't talked about it in a while, and we always
it's like 3 weeks we're recapping it once.
Yeah, and we always come back to things we've talked about, just like Narcos.
Yes.
Better Call Saul.
They won. In Narcos, they won.
Yeah, they did. The Narcos.
End of story.
Yep, Narcos won.
Yep.
Drug dealers 0.
Well, no, the drug dealers are the narcos.
Oh.
No, you're right. The narcos are the cops.
The drug dealers had a lot of wins, though. I mean, they held in for as long as
W's in the column.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, so speaking of drug dealers with wins, so I'm trying to think now. Like you said, it's been 3 weeks.
Seamless.
So the last
believe
episode.
The first one was KMM.
Yeah, I think so.
We missed. Which is that's where Lalo. Okay, we might be recapping something we've already recapped, but it's been a while. So Lalo basically insists that he goes, "Hey, all I want you to do, I'm going to hire you as my attorney. All I want you to do is to get me out on bail, because basically he's going to skip the country, as soon as he gets out on bail."
Yep.
And then Gus actually wants him also to be out on bail too. So he thankfully doesn't have to buck against one or the other in that situation, which often is something that happens to the characters on the show. Saul / Jimmy and Nacho especially.
Yeah, and Kim and Saul get married.
Yep, they get married. It's primarily to invoke the spousal privilege, where Kim wouldn't have to testify against Saul's activities, or vice versa. Not that would ever happen. So yeah, they get married, and it's kind of sentimental. It is very businesslike, but Kim gets kind of like choked up. They get a little romantic when they get back to the old house.
Oh yeah,
Little sucking, little fucking. You know how it goes.
It's funny because they seem to have such like a sexless, cold relationship.
Yeah, we've pointed this out many times, and I think we pointed out right before this episode came out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really weird, but it kind of changes, as we go along. In my opinion, culminating basically towards the last scene of the most recent episode. But yeah, so Lalo wants to get out on bail. Mike has I think this was in the episode that we recapped, but Mike goes up to the woman that was the witness at the Travel Wire shooting, and basically, steers her in the direction of, hey, this is the car, right? And gets her to call the police and everything. It's witness tampering on purpose.
Yeah, this is a great scene. It's just Mike, just grunt.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a glacier. He will just run. Eventually, he'll just crush you and make you do what he wants.
Yeah, exactly. And much like Louis C.K. So she, she calls the thing, and that's why he gets, in trouble like this. So
yeah, they have like a perfect description of Lalo and his vehicle.
Yeah. And so Mike says to Jimmy, he's like, hey, we want you to get him out on bail too. Here's how you're going to do it. And he's like, he basically says, Dave Clark, I love that Mike always uses Dave Clark of the Dave Clark 5 as his alias.
His detective PI name.
And so he, Jimmy comes up and he's like, hey, you guys, we're witness tampering and everything. And that's why all this stuff's happening all of a sudden. And the judge looks over it. The prosecutors investigate, and they have to admit, we weren't aware of it, but yes, apparently somebody did talk to her that we, didn't know. We didn't, and so the judge is like, okay, well, then I am going to allow bail, $7 million worth of bail. And so,
which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of money for they don't know that this guy's a cartel dude. I know it's a murder case, but like $1 million that'd be a ton, and that seems more reasonable. Plus, Jimmy...
Actually ridiculous since they don't know that Lalo is Lalo. He has like a fake name that he's using that they haven't uncovered yet.
Jorge de Guzman. But
But regardless, they asked for $7 million.
Yeah, and Lalo's like, no problem. He's got the cousins in Mexico, and they're gonna pick it up. But Jimmy has got to pick it up for him and deliver it to the the place, the courthouse, where they accept the money for bail. And
the clerk or treasurer or whatever.
Yeah. So he tells Kim, about all this stuff, and because they're being honest with each other. And she's like, she's worried about it and says, it seems like a bad idea and everything. He's like, oh, it'll be totally safe. Don't worry about it, So he goes out to the desert and picks up the money from the cousins. Almost immediately starts getting tailed. And it's bad news because the guys stop. They see the money. They're going to kill Jimmy. They're about to kill Jimmy. All of a sudden, shots fire out, and they're getting riddled with bullets. And Jimmy takes cover. It's a horrific firefight. It ends with one guy getting away in a car. And Mike comes down. Mike's been following him the whole time, apparently, just keeping an eye on Jimmy. And he's killed all the people from his perch, except for the one that got away. And he says,
I find that a bit ridiculous. I mean, I know Mike's like a trained, he's not really a trained killer. He was a police officer. It's not like he was like a Navy SEAL or anything,
Yeah, it is.
But he's like
kind of
the world's
weird.
best shot with like a sniper rifle, an assault rifle, a pistol. It's a little much.
Yeah, I like Mike's character a lot, but they do go overboard with him a little bit. But yeah, so he he picks up Jimmy. They start driving his car, but the car, the alternator got a fucking bullet in it, as did his world's second best lawyer mug that Kim gave him. And he takes it with him anyway because, it's a gift from Kim, so it's sentimental value. And then they got to start walking. They got to keep off the road.
Wait, I think you missed something here. Did you realize that when Mike they pushed the car into a ravine or a little like crack or whatever, but before they do that, Mike gas cap out. Do you remember earlier in one of the earlier seasons or episodes, Mike put a tracker on the gas cap in Jimmy's car?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how he knew where he was. He was tracking him with this this gas cap.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, because he didn't want whoever shot them to realize that this car was being tracked by somebody.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think Jimmy noticed it either.
So they start walking, and they got to stay off the road because that one guy got away, and he's going to become circling around looking for him, which sure enough he does.
Yeah, it's $7 million, of course.
Right. So they this episode which takes place mostly, it's Mike and Jimmy walking through the desert, is an excellent episode. Great atmosphere.
Yeah, one of the best of the whole series.
Yeah, great atmosphere. Some great conversations between Mike and Jimmy. There's not a whole lot to say about it other than you really have to see it to be able to appreciate the episode. And it's fantastic. Yeah,
imagine the dialogue. If the dialogue is 100 lines of dialogue, I'd be shocked.
Yeah. The biggest speech, basically, that Mike gives is, Jimmy's getting ready to quit. They're almost out of water. Jimmy's got to go to the bathroom, and Mike's like, you better not waste that. You better pee into this fucking thing because you're going to want to drink that later. So, he does pee in it, but he's like, he's getting ready to give up. He's fucking done. He's tired. He's sunburned. He's just ready to die. And
another fun part is when they go to sleep, Mike has like these space blankets.
Yes.
And it clearly reminds Jimmy of Chuck. So he's just really weirded out by the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. You could definitely, Carol and I talked extensively about how, how that had to be like just fucking weird as shit for Jimmy.
Yeah, they're very, very good acting from Bob Odenkirk in this whole episode. Actually, all three of these episodes coming up.
Oh yeah, but so he says to Mike, like, how can you keep going? And Mike says, because I have people. I have people out there that, they're not in the game. They're never going to know what I do. They're never going to know where I get my money from. But if I can provide for them, if I can give them a better life, that's what I'm here for. So Mike's living for
What about that?
Huh?
I think that's from when Gus talked to him at the end of that episode. Because remember what Gus says to Walt to really convince him to be in the game? He says, a man provides.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And that's literally what Mike says. That's what keeps him going, because Mike was like depressed. He wanted to drop out. He stopped responding to Gus. That's probably Gus gave him the same fucking speech he gave Walter White about that.
Yep, I agree. I absolutely agree. With that. I think, he probably told him what happened to, his lover and stuff like that and everything. And he says, look, I know what happened to someone that you cared about. Because, like we said, I'm sure he's done research on him. And said,
for sure. He knows about his son.
And said, you've got this daughter-in-law, you've got this granddaughter, and like you said, a man provides. I'm sure he said it's almost word for word the same thing.
And in Breaking Bad, we see that, of course, Mike has been doing nothing but saving tons and tons and tons of money for Kaylee, his granddaughter.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, so Jimmy, gets up. He's thinking of Kim. He gets up and keeps going, and he grabs one of the space blankets because the guy's back in the car, and he's like, fuck this. And I can see what he's thinking. He's thinking like, Mike, because he says to Mike, get ready with that thing with the gun he's got. He's like, Mike, you shoot him, we'll take the fucking car and we'll get out of here. And he, he's flashing this space blanket, catching the sunlight, holding the money, trying to get the guy to come. The guy starts driving down the road, and now all of a sudden Mike's not the best shot in the world because he's
he's fucking shooting guys running with guns, shooting at him. He's shooting through cars, he's shooting under cars, he's shooting around tires, but one car moving slowly, no, he can't do that.
So he's trying to shoot him, can't get him. He knows that, this is how I interpret it anyway, he knows that the truck's gonna hit Jimmy, so he shoots out the tire so it flips and and doesn't kill Jimmy. Unfortunately, the water that the guy's carrying too also split open and spilled out all over the place. So the episode ends with Jimmy having to drink his own piss, and then they keep walking.
Great.
Oh, also in this episode, real quick, Kim goes to see Lalo because she knows she can't go to the police, but she goes to see Lalo because she wants to find out what is going on. Like what.
Yeah, because Jimmy has not returned in like 24 hours.
Yeah, and Mike points out that, she's in the game now because she's talked to Lalo.
Right. In the next episode. Oh, good.
I was just going to say, which she kind of is, as we find out, which sucks, but for Kim, because it probably is not going to end well for her.
Oh, I don't know. I'm still thinking that Kim will be married to Saul, like she was married the whole time, is my guess. During Breaking Bad. That would be
it would be definitely interesting if that is the case.
Because in this we get kind of an idea of a timeline because we know Tuco, or that's later, but we find out when Tuco's getting out of prison, so we can kind of guess how far it is until Breaking Bad. But yeah, so the next episode starts in the desert still. There's still no signal. They're sunburned, beaten, blistered, dehydrated. Jimmy's still drinking his own piss, which, from what I've heard, is not as bad as it sounds. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to try it, but it doesn't sound like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like you, I've never drank my own piss, but I've heard it basically just kind of tastes like slightly salty water. So,
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so all of a sudden, there's a sequence at the beginning, a really nice sequence with Jimmy and Kim. Like they're both kind of like trying to figure out, they're kind of frantically like moving about, and it's a lot of like shots comparing them to each other. It's a really nice sequence.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, Jimmy gets a phone signal. He calls Kim, and she is assured that he's okay. He'll be fine. And then as soon as she gets off the phone, she finally lets herself cry. She's been holding her emotions steady this whole time.
Fantastic acting from Rhea Seahorn.
Yeah, she is very, very good in this show. Yes. I mean, we mentioned this before. Anybody in the cast is worthy of any kind of award. It's an amazing cast, amazing acting, amazing writing, directing. It's the best show on TV by quite a bit.
Yep, absolutely.
And again, I do think it's superior in a lot of ways to Breaking Bad, though. I think Breaking Bad, I like that it's more action, I guess. It's a little faster.
Right.
But this is it's just an amazing drama. Yeah, so we get she starts crying. Mike's guys pick him up. I forget their names. One of them is
Tyrus and
is it Tyrus and the other guy. So they pick him up, and let's see. Mike's saying, "Hey, you got to get your story straight here, Say what, and then in case anybody asks, you won't let Jimmy go to sleep. They drop him off directly at the bond office or whatever it is. He just has these giant duffel bags full of cash.
Yeah,
and he just sits there like that.
He comes in and he's like Jorge de Guzman, and the woman looks it up in the computer, and she looks up and she goes, $7 million, and he puts it up on there. They start it's several of them counting it. Carol asked me, she was like, how long do you think it would take them to count them? And I said, with those machines, probably a couple hours. And according to Jimmy's story later, I was right. It was a couple hours.
I don't think it would take a super crazy long time.
No. I mean,
she goes, "Oh yeah, here's the extra." I mean, it was Did you mention that he negotiated a fee of $100,000 to deliver this?
No, yeah, we forgot that. But yes, $100,000.
Yeah, you were kind of breaking up then. I wasn't sure. But yeah, when he goes, "Yeah, I can't do it." He goes, "Well, I could, but I need some kind of compensation," and it's like nothing to Lalo. He just, he makes like $100 for what he thought would be a super easy job. I mean, he makes $100,000 for like 2 grueling days of.
Right. Yeah. Carol asked me, she was like, do you think that's worth it? Like, would you if you knew you had to put yourself through that, would you do it for $100,000? And I was like, I don't know. Like physically.
I mean, if you knew you'd survive, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, physically it's one thing. But let's say you didn't know if you were, because that, like you just said, let's say you didn't know if you were going to survive. Like mentally thinking that you're on the verge of death and you're probably going to die out there. I don't know if that's worth it at all. But yeah,
what if you were guaranteed to survive it, but you'd see people murdered in front of you. You'd have to spend a night in like the freezing cold desert. You'd have to be walking for dozens of miles in the blistering hot sun. Would that be worth it?
I don't know. I mean, it's $100,000.
You had the brief pleasure of hunting men for sport, which I mean, obviously that would be pretty valuable in itself.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's tempting. $100,000 is a lot of money. But I don't know. Like, I'll tell you what. If one of the sponsors out there wants to pay us $100,000 to walk through the desert and make a video about it, maybe we'll do that. But anyway, so yeah, they get back.
It was a horse. Deal with it.
They get to a gas station, and they get a cab and they come back in, like you said. And so then Lalo, asks him, hey, what's going on? And basically he tells him, my car broke down like 6 or 7 miles away from there, and I had to walk in the desert. I went north, which probably was a mistake, but I was all turned around and everything. Eventually got to the gas station. So that's the story that Mike told him to tell him. I'm not sure exactly why, or at least I wasn't sure exactly why Mike didn't just tell him, hey, say you were attacked and you got away or whatever. Although I guess if he had told Lalo that he'd been attacked by people trying to get the money, then Lalo's question would have been, how'd you get away? You couldn't have gunned down a bunch of people by yourself.
Right.
He would definitely have known that. So he gets home. And this whole episode is where we can kind of see how much she really cares about Kim really cares about Jimmy. In my opinion anyway, with her breaking down in tears, and then she calls in sick so that she can take care of him and everything. We see I mistakenly called it PTSD. My wife, who is a social worker, said, no, that's not PTSD.
I thought it was shell shock.
No. She goes, that's just normal stress. She goes, it's not a disorder. She goes, that's post-traumatic stress, but it's not a disorder until it's been 3 months. She's like, that's just normal stress from going through a trauma. Everyone probably would respond that way, up to 3 months after it. She's like, it's not a mental disorder or anything until it's been more than 3 months. So I was like, okay.
It seems like a lot of that stuff, like depression, like you're not actually depressed, like clinically, until you've been feeling the same way for months. Like I know somebody who went through like a bad breakup, and they're like, oh, I should go to the doctor and get pills because I'm depressed. And I'm like, well, no, I mean that's normally how you should feel after like.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how it is, Yeah. I mean, wait, and if you're still feeling this way in a couple months, and sure enough, in a couple months, it was still painful, but not to the point where you just want some immediate relief. Because I think a lot of those pills take a while to build up anyway. So even if it would help, it would take it would take probably as long as it would take to get over it naturally. Yeah.
And that's, Mike points that out in the episode too, actually, when Jimmy's talking to him and he's like, when am I going to get better? Basically is what he says. When is this not going to feel like this? And Mike says, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to drink your coffee and go to the bathroom or whatever. And you're going to realize you haven't thought about it. And then you're going to realize you can forget. And then that's when you start to get better, basically, is what he says. And
we see a lot of nice parts of Mike in these few episodes. He's very thoughtful. I mean, wise. I mean, he's obviously the strong silent type, but he's a very well thought out character. Both internally and externally. I mean, very great job writing this character.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lalo gets out. Lalo's plan is he's going to go to Mexico. He's going to skip town. Eventually,
first he's going to visit his uncle Hector.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
where he said. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as he says to Hector, he says, maybe it'll take a year, but eventually the heat will die down. I'll be able to come back. Everything will be okay. And Nacho and the guys will get you whatever you want. And as you pointed out, this is when he mentions Tuco.
He goes, Tuco will be out in 11 months. So I imagine he basically is saying goodbye to Hector. He realizes that Nacho will be able to help out until Tuco gets out, and then that'll fill the Salamanca gap up here.
Yeah, and he basically gives us the timeline of, and that's what I said to Carol too when we were watching. I was like, oh, now we know about when Breaking Bad comes in, because we know that when Walter starts, what's his name, Crazy 8 is being the distributor in the area, and Tuco had basically just gotten out. As Breaking Bad starts going. So it's probably about a year or so until Breaking Bad starts.
Yeah, something like that. We know it's not too long. That's kind of neat to see the timeline. Mike and Gus have a discussion about what happened at the whole robbery thing. Mike tells me, he goes, hey, I saw this symbol actually, and I want to show you what it is. Maybe you might know what it is. He draws it out. Apparently it's like some Colombian, mafia type, situation, or a drug cartel, and they do these kind of hits for people.
Yep.
And then Gus kind of figures out who might have called them on this. And is it Don Ilario? I don't remember the name of the Don he calls. It's one of the guys we've seen before Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is, but it's not Don Ilario. It's one of the other ones in Mexico. He gets him by the police come in and kill him. On Gus's orders, basically, but I can't remember his name.
But Gus is talking to him. He goes, yeah, I was worried about that problem because he's a Gus supporter. Actually, it seems like one of the very few people who actually support Gus.
Yep.
He was worried that if he was trying to help Gus out because he didn't want Lalo to get out of jail, and because he knew he was trying to fuck his shit up there.
Right. Yeah, and that Gus says to Mike at this point, everything we do must be completely unimpeachable. Nothing can come back on me. We have to be super careful from this point forward.
Right. And then so we go back and we see we see Lalo is going to Mexico.
Yep.
And they just happens to pass by the road where he knew that his cousins had met up with him.
Yep.
So he drives down there and he finds Jimmy's car and he sees bullet holes in there and it's like in the ravine. It's not left by the road, broken down exactly as he described.
Right. Yeah. And tied into this, earlier in the episode, Kim asks him if it was worth it, and he says, "Oh, go look in the bag." And she looks in the bag and sees a bullet hole through the, world's second best lawyer mug. So we know that she knows what's going on. And it pisses me off so much, too. Like, I was screaming at the screen because Jimmy lies to her, and everything. And then she gives him an opening. She says, "Look, I know that something bad happened in the desert, and I'm not asking you, you don't have to tell me. I'm not asking you to, this isn't like, hey, you've got to tell me everything situation. This is just, I'm here for you, and you can tell me whatever you need to tell me. It's okay. I won't judge you." And she's basically just saying, look, she's giving him all the passes in the world, and he still doesn't tell her. And it just pisses me off. Yeah. It's like, open yourself up.
And this is when he tells her, because I'm in the game, I don't want you to be in the game. She's like, in the game? What the fuck are you talking about?
Right, yeah.
And then she tells him what we see her do earlier in the episode, that she quit the firm she worked for.
Yeah.
And, finally she's like, I'm just
going
to do what I want. I have pro bono clients, she's made enough money. And then Jimmy just goes off on her. He's like, what do you mean, you did this? Because, you're the breadwinner. You can't just make this. It's basically like the most ridiculous person ever arguing with.
Yeah. Yeah. It was totally stupid. That's like, he's completely wrong in that situation too, where he's like.
Another example of him flying off the rails earlier. He when he had his day off, he rushed to court the same day that Kim, she went to her work and quit.
Mm-hmm.
And he just listened by the opposing counsel on the case, which is not normal for Jimmy McGill.
No. Yeah. So because Lalo saw this stuff and he sees the bullet hole, he comes to the apartment and, he's like, hey, I just want to
actually, no. A little bit out of order here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like on the way there, like all of a sudden Mike calls Jimmy.
Oh, yes. And
he goes, hide this phone somewhere where, no one will see it, but keep it on so I can hear it. He's like, what? And all of a sudden, like the door, door gets a knock at it.
Yeah, and he's like, just do it right now. And you can see, we cut to Mike very briefly, and it looks like he's in a horror movie or something like that, because it's all dark around him driving in the car, and it just looks like he is fucking tearing ass to get there.
Yes.
And, obviously, Gus and Mike, or just Mike, I don't know, but for whatever reason, they really want Jimmy alive. Because... he comes, he comes there, Lalo starts talking to him, he's like, calm down, we're just gonna have a talk. Lalo's got a gun on him, which is very visible. And then we cut and we see Mike across the street with this sniper rifle, and like I told Carol, I was like, he's just waiting for Lalo to reach for that gun, and as soon as he does, he's gonna shoot him.
But I wonder, is he a good shot now or a bad shot?
Exactly.
Which Mike is it?
Would he accidentally hit Kim?
I was kind of thinking that might happen too.
I was concerned that Kim was going to get killed in this episode. Obviously, we know Jimmy's not going
for many reasons.
But yeah, I was concerned for Kim's life. So he, Lalo plays a little game with him where he's basically like, "Tell me the story. Tell me what happened." Not Gus. Jimmy sticks to his story. Tells him what happened the way that he told him originally. He's like, "Tell me again." He basically tells him 3 times, and he's like, "I don't know what you're getting at. I don't know what you want." And then Lalo's like, "I found your car. It wasn't on the road like you said it was. It was pushed in a ditch, and there was a bullet hole in it. Why don't you explain that?" And then Kim just goes off on him. Now, keep in mind, Kim saw the bullet hole in the cup. She knows something like that happened out there. But
Jimmy actually before this, he like repeats the exact same story over and over. And each time he repeats it, he has a more embarrassing detail. Like he makes it sound like he didn't want to tell him because he drank his own piss.
Right? Yeah.
It's a very prominent detail, but and then Kim just gets all over his ass.
Oh yeah, she's like a bullet hole. She's like, I can't leave a can around here without some kid taking a shot at it. And you don't think it's possible that someone could have pushed the car in there and taken some pot shots at some junk old car? Are you fucking kidding me? And she's like, your problem is that you need to get your house in order. If you don't have anyone that you can trust to pick up this money other than Saul, that's a big ass problem, isn't it? And that's your friend. And like she totally goes off on him, and he's like, he just kind of sits there, he looks at her, and he's like, okay, and he just leaves. And he goes down to Nacho, and he's like, okay, we're going to Mexico. Let's go. And he's like, oh, you want me to drop you off with the cousins? And he's like, no, you're taking me all the way. Change of plans.
Right, which is curious.
And not what Nacho wants at all. Mike, I can't remember if
Nacho had asked to be let go earlier since, Lalo was, finally being taken care of. And Mike made an appeal to Gus, and Gus was like, no. And Gus actually made a good point. He's like, well, this guy, let's see, he tried to kill his one boss, and his other boss, he basically set up. So why would I, get scared?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Mike tries to make an appeal, but it doesn't work. And that's basically where the episode ends. And that's, what we're prepared for. The season finale is, next week. And I am, later next week, but
you're going to be the one finale,
but I'm pumped.
Yeah, it should be a good episode. And then, one more season. And, I think
that makes sense with the timeline wise. That makes sense too.
And then what's the next? I hope the next spinoff is Badger and Skinny Pete just going around solving crime.
I would fucking love. I honestly, whatever they do with Badger and Skinny Pete, I would watch. I don't care if it's a Scooby Doo remake. They could just do that episode of Star Trek that they talk about that they wrote.
That would be hilarious.
Anything they want to do, I would absolutely watch.
With the soundtrack by Twathammer.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite parts of Breaking Bad is, Badger's playing the guitar, badly and stuff like that, and then Skinny Pete's on the piano, and he's going through all the stuff. This might be an outtake, I'm not even sure, but he's playing this amazing concerto on the keyboard, and Badger just goes, "We get it, you're better."
No, that wasn't an outtake. Yeah, they say the guy actually played that. He's actually a really good pianist.
Oh yeah, for sure. My favorite line though.
That's a cool little moment. It's wow, what the fuck happened to this guy?
Yeah, exactly. My favorite line though, I think ever from Breaking Bad is when Walt says, it relates to something we talked about, when Walt says, we need somebody that can take a lot of our drugs and then they just sell it. We just manufacture. He's like, do you know anyone like that? And he goes, like a distributor. He's like, yeah, you know anyone like that? He goes, yeah, I did. You killed him.
Right.
Oh man. But yeah, good episode. I think I might have liked the most recent episode even better than the one before it, and the one before it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was 3 great episodes in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so that is our episode for the day. We've gone very long, but we got excited and we had a lot of stuff to talk about. But we will see you next week. Bye.